What is going on, YouTube? Today we're going to be doing a full day of eating. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now before we get into some of the meals that I'm going to be having today, let's do a little bit of mobility and get some stretches in because my body's pretty taxed, I'm feeling pretty sore, and I think that would be best for me right now. So I'm going to do that before I get into meal number one. Follow along if you want to, or don't. It doesn't matter. This is an instructional video. Alright, Hannah is going to show me some mobility drills, but before we get into that, I'm going to do a bar hang. This is something I started implementing on a pretty regular basis, 3 to 4 times a week. You can see I'm just hanging on the bar here, nothing crazy, and the idea is that it's going to put some tension onto your grip, but your back and your shoulders, kind of that trapezoid area, is going to end up being a little bit looser while your grip is a little firmer. And I'm just going to do this for like 30 to 45 seconds, maybe a minute, depending on how I feel that day. Then Hannah's just going to walk me through some mobility drills. You can see she's got a little bit more flexibility than I do, especially right now. I'm pretty tight. And she just walks me through some of the yoga stretches that she does on a regular basis. I think this is a good thing to implement if you're somebody who lifts a lot of weights because, as I'm sure you know, a lot of injuries come with weightlifting. There's a lot of people online that will complain about how they're constantly injured and, moan about how their shoulders hurt or their back hurts or whatever. Sometimes this is because of ego lifting, but other times it's just because they don't prioritize their mobility, which makes it more difficult for them to recover. So that's why I'm prioritizing this and sharing it with you all, but by no means am I a professional or a personal trainer of any sort. This is just what works for me, so I thought I would show you all what my daily or regular mobility stretches look like. Alright, my mobility training is done. Did some stretches, some bar hangs as you can see. Let's go ahead and do a little physique update and show you all where I'm weighing in at right now. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I figured, we would throw it back and show you everything that there is to see. As you can see, my weight's sitting at about 165 pounds right now. I will chalk that up to the fact that we had sushi last night, so I'm probably retaining a little bit of water. But overall, pretty happy with the way my physique looks right now. Nothing crazy, pretty much maintaining and slowly adding calories as the winter goes along. Alright, back to the original film setup where we've got the light in the background, a nice dark backdrop over here. As you can see, I've got meal number one. This is going to be 4 over easy eggs, 3 pieces of Canadian bacon, an English muffin, a low-carb English muffin at that, with some peanut butter. And I've got my cup of coffee from earlier. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off with this delicious meal, as well as a bunch of water. And you might be thinking, Sean, what are the macros on this meal? Well, let me tell you. It's 630 calories to 35 carbs, 38 grams of fat, and 45 grams of protein. So overall, pretty good macros, just about even with a little extra protein. This is perfect because I like to have a little bit of protein in the morning to get me started, keeping everything else relatively low compared to the protein intake. So I'm going to go ahead and eat this. But I'll see you all for a check-in in about 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And we're back with a new meal, just like that. As you can see, I've got me a little burger bowl here, but I did change it up a little bit compared to the regular recipe. It's feeling a little lazy, so I didn't make the regular In-N-Out sauce. I just added some pickles, ketchup, mustard, a little bit of the cheddar, low-fat, reduced-fat cheese, as well as 6 ounces of ground beef. It's 92.8, so very lean ground beef, but still some fat in there, as well as some rice instead of the lettuce that I would typically add into a burger bowl. Now with that said, this is going to be a higher calorie recipe. If you want to see the lower calorie recipe, you can go into my old videos. I'll go ahead and post something up here so you can click on that and see a calorie dense version of this meal. As for macros, we're looking at 630 calories to 66 carbs, 19 fat, and 48 grams of protein. So definitely a solid meal, very similar to meal one. So I'm going to go ahead and eat this, watch a little bit of football as you can see in the background, and kind of chill for a bit. But I'll see you all at meal number 3. Meal number 3 is ready, and it's middle of the day. Kind of have a little sweet hankering, so I made 4 rice cakes with peanut butter and some chocolate chips. Definitely excited to eat these. One of my favorites, of course. And because I'm increasing calories, I'm able to kind of fit something like this in and not really stress too much about the excessive amounts of calories here. So definitely excited to eat this and I'm going to enjoy it. But first, let me break down the calories and macros. For our calories, we've got 760 calories. Again, this is a lot, but also I've increased calories, so not sweating it. 82 grams of carbs, 45 grams of fat, and 20 grams of protein. I certainly don't recommend this meal for anybody that is currently on a cut or trying to lose weight. But for me personally, because I've increased the amount of calories that I'm burning on a day-to-day basis, I feel more comfortable eating something like this and not really sweating the fact that it's a little bit higher in calories. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and eat this, relax for a bit, and I'll see you all at meal number 4. All right, it is meal number 4, and as you can see, we're back to the basics here. These are some ground chicken meatballs, about 4 ounces overall with 6 ounces of jasmine rice and a little broccoli on the side. Very good meal. Have a little bit of Japanese sauce on top of here to kind of spruce the meal up a little bit, but for the most part, I'm excited to eat this. As for the calories on this, we're looking at about 411 calories, 56 grams of carbs, 8 grams of fat, and 25 grams of protein. It's definitely a lower calorie meal for the day, but meal number 5 is probably going to be a little bit lower calorie, even lower than this. Higher protein though, so definitely stay tuned for that, and I'll see you all at the next one. All right, the last meal. Last meal is the best meal. Actually, not really, because it means that you're done with eating. And I like eating. But that's going to be the protein pudding here. Don't judge a book by its cover. It actually tastes amazing. It's one of my favorite meals and favorite desserts. Plus it's high protein and the macros on this thing are great. Speaking of macros and calories, we're looking at 268 calories with 9 grams of carbs, 2.6 grams of fat, and 49 grams of protein. One thing that I love about this recipe that I didn't do this time, but typically do, is that you can add plenty of different toppings, whether it's berries, peanut butter, chocolate chips, or whatever you want. Anything that goes great with chocolate is going to go great on this. So I'm going to go ahead and eat this, and this will be my last meal of the day. But thanks for following me. These recipes have been simple and pretty sustainable for the most part, at least in my opinion. I will say that today was a higher volume day of eating. With that said, our total calories and macros come out to 2,699 calories, 188 grams of protein with 250 grams of carbs and 114 grams of fat. So overall, I'm pretty happy with that. I hit my protein goal, hit my calorie goal, and I feel pretty satiated so far. So I'm sure I'll be feeling good for tomorrow's workouts whenever I lift and do kickboxing. That's going to be, a long, hectic day. And a lot of calories are going to be burnt doing that. So I feel pretty comfortable keeping my calories higher on my off days because typically, 5-6 days a week, I'm looking at pretty heavy volume in terms of my actual fitness and level of activity. I should also mention that today didn't go completely to waste. I did end up going to the sauna, so there was some level of additional recovery. Plus, I'm one of those people that can't sit still. You can probably tell by all of my body and hand motions that I love moving. I love pacing around, and it's just one of those things that I do to cope with the existential dread of having a 9-to-5 job. So with that said, if you enjoyed today's content, please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you to everyone who's been watching these videos come out lately. I know I've been a little bit inconsistent with my release of videos, but I'm trying to get better. So definitely expect, that I'm going to be on time with my posts moving on from here on out. So thank you all, and I'll see you in the next video.